So I'm just sitting here looking up these light up snowplow guides. Ever seen them? Thought, that'd be pretty cool to have on my snowblower. And then you start looking at them and, well, they're 24 inches tall, a little taller than I need. Kind of spent enough money on lighting this year already. Don't really want to spend another $120. Kind of got an idea. We'll walk back here to the messy shop. And let's look for what I'm thinking of. That ain't gonna work. Oh, that's a broomstick. That ain't gonna work. Where are you? Gonna give you an idea what I'm looking for. There's a hint. Got some PVC pipe up here. And right there it is. Right there it is. Anybody figure it out yet? Let's see how that works. You know what this means, right? Let's go take some measurements. I got an idea. So here's kind of the progress on the cab. We got obviously parts painted. We're still waiting on parts from Cozy Cab. I currently have the electrical pretty much gutted on this thing and rewiring it all from the start. We got some nice connectors down here. Here's my dash. But what we come out here for is this. So if I'd put 24-inch drift cutters on here, they'd be way up here, which is a little excessive. So we might make some shorter ones for this. So let me get some measurements and we'll see what we can come up with. So now that we got some measurements, let's fire up the good old Fusion 360. Come on. And now we wait. Do 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 do. Is this gonna get copyright striked? Yes, this is really how long this takes to open. Every time. Okay, let's get to designing something. So while I design this quick here in Fusion 360, I just want to point something out. Nowadays, a lot of people think that you need to go to college for everything. You have to go to a 4-year school. You have to go to 8-year school. You have to get a degree. You have to get a whatever. No college experience. Never been to college. Just high school. That was it. I didn't learn CAD in high school. I tried to a little bit. I didn't take any classes on it, but it was on some of the computers. I did play around with it and could never figure it out. When I got the 3D printer, I decided to sit down one day and just screw around with it. Well, I figured it out in a matter of, 2-3 days. And then even now, if I can't figure something out the way I want it to work or I want to do it in a certain way, I just stop. I Google it, find a YouTube video, find an article about it. The thing is you don't need college nowadays because everything's out there on the internet. You can learn anything you want to on the internet. But just kind of wanted to point that out that I don't have any experience on this, and I'm able to make this relatively complicated part in a matter of an hour and 40 minutes, I think this video was, before I sped it up. Which, yeah, it's a small part, but as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. And I didn't edit out my mistakes. You see me make mistakes in this video. You see me redo the part because it's not working the way I want to. That's all learning experience. It's the bathtub curb is our what's AVE call it? I don't know. AVE has a name for it, but I've figured out and learned more stuff being out of school than I ever learned in school. So I was never a person to care for school. I had never really cared for even middle school, high school, elementary school. Wasn't my thing. Didn't really care to be sitting in a prison cell all day, basically. Forced to read a book that I didn't give a crap about, or forced to learn dates of a history. Like, history to me is interesting, but I don't care when World War II started. I want to know why it started, how it started, what happened when it started, how did it end, instead of being tested on what date did World War II start on. But this is kind of just my little school rant, but I can do a whole video on public education and schooling and colleges. If you want to see that, give this video a thumbs up and let a comment down below that you'd like to know about that, and I'll do a whole little rant video on that. But as you see me here, I'm just quickly cutting out this inside here for the wiring, and yeah, I'll let you guys go here. Enjoy the rest of this. little bit of time later, and this is pretty much what I ended up with. So let's take a closer look here. As you can see, there's our base mount. There's our slot for it to slide into. It'd help if I frame it instead of looking at the computer. Rotate it around to the other side. There we have spots for the hole. That little hole up on top, there's the wiring. We got nice little flat spots for the nuts to sit on. And we actually recess this out for the bolts, as you can see. Right there, you can see the holes recessed in there for the bolt. Everything's got nice chamfer on it. And if we look at the cap, it's nice and fancy. Looks all professional. Come on. And yeah, so now all we gotta do is load this up into Kira, slice it so we can 3D print it. So here we have it in Kira, which is just a 3D model slicer. As you can see, if we just quickly preview it, this isn't going to be how I print the final one, but this is just some of my settings, so you can see the layers. This isn't very thick walls or anything like that. I just wanted to print a test one real quickly, so you can kind of see the layers on how the printer is going to print them. So there you go. Here's the print times. 6 hours, 58 minutes. It'll cost me about 88 cents in the material to print it. And there's all the print times and settings. Or not print times. Print times for the different parts. Sorry about that. Now we just send that to Octoprint, which is what I use to interface with my 3D printer, so I don't have to always put it on an SD card and transfer it. Where here I can just click print with Octoprint, and it sends it to the printer and automatically starts printing. And let this print, test it, and then we can print the final one a lot stronger than what this one will be. I'll get back to you. And here we are a couple hours later. I just got a notification on my phone that it just passed 25%, and it's going to town doing its thing. I'll check back in later. Okay, here we have one of my little snowplow light up guide things. Got nice flat spots there. Got an angle in here to match the snowblower, and that recess takes a, oh, that's over the nut, but right over here we have a recess spot for a 1/4 nut, or a 1/4 bolt with a nut on the other side, on the flat side there. Got a nice little cap, and there's a little hole for our wire right there. So that's where our wire is going to come out. But what we need to do now is put lights in them. And there's a problem. All I can find for lights that fit in there really nice are these from Amazon. There's the number if you want to look them up. But they don't stay solid. They fit in that PEX tubing really, really nice. But they do this. So a bunch of digging around and research. If you pull these apart, there's a chip on here. And I'll show you this screen here so you can actually see a little bit better. So I'm actually using a camera to magnify it and to show you guys this, but I'm not an electrical engineer. I did get the number off this chip and looked at it. This is what's doing this strobing from what I can tell. But this pin and this pin down here are a test pin. So one of these is a ground. This is a ground, I think. Or no, this is a ground. This is your test pin. So by jumping that test pin to ground, it'll stay solid. Well, the only way to do that permanently is to solder a jumper wire in there. So what I have is I have a thin piece of copper wire sitting here that I'm going to solder in there to them 2 pins. So I'm going to kind of solder it so them 2 bridge there and bridge to that pin there. This wire I'm using, I just grabbed a piece of Cat 6 using that cable, pulled out a strand and stripped it back. So what I'm going to actually do is disconnect the power off this. So I'm just powering it from a little battery. And I'm going to take my little TS100 soldering iron and try to solder that jumper wire in place. Now, I wrecked one of these already trying to figure out what pins I needed to jump. So I killed one already. The second one, I tried to use a soldering iron that was a little bit too big, got stuff too hot, and turned into a pain in the butt. These little tiny solder joints for this wires back here where the wire connect are absolutely horrible. So is that chip. That chip that wire is sitting on top of, if you get a little too warm, it likes to bow off the board. So I'm just going to actually take and give it a little bit more thermal mass, hopefully. And just kind of get that to sit on there. Yeah, that probably ain't going to work too well. I would like to have it a little bit something there. Maybe I'll put it underneath on the ground plane underneath. Yeah. So that's just a little chunk of steel. That is going to make that harder to solder though. So this is the joys of dealing with absolutely ridiculously tiny shit. And I don't have the best hand-eye coordination, but if we get this soldering iron heated up, get some flux on there, get some solder on there, I'm going to try to record with this camera so you guys can see what's going on. Hopefully there's an SD card in here, which there must be. I think it would have gave me an error otherwise, but yeah. Yeah. So, I'll try recording on that so you guys can see what I'm doing. And we are recording, and we'll get back to this. you see now, got my jumper soldered in there. I gotta cut the end off yet. As you've seen on this camera, it is not the funnest thing to do. I don't know if a camera will pick it up, but these are still pulsating just slightly. Yeah, I don't think you'd notice unless you were really looking for it. Actually, you might be able to see it better on here. You can see it just changing brightness. Yeah, you guys can see that. Even up here you can see it. I am gonna look for some other lights yet. If anybody knows some straight amber marker lights that can be cut, would be greatly appreciated. These can be cut. There's no marking on them, but you gotta count the LEDs, and they're supposed to be able to be cut. We'll see about that next year once. I'm gonna solder up the other one, and we'll see how we go here. So there we go, there's one. This is what I cut off. As you can see, what they want you to do, the first set I got, these LEDs were actually in line, in row. Like they line up with one another. These are not. So what they have you do is they have you count every 3 LEDs starting at the end. So you can see my red marks there are where I would need to cut. And then I measured kind of where I wanted to be and picked the closest one to that. And that's what we end up with. Now, I gotta watch out down here that these two don't touch. Get this out like that. This isn't perfect all the way around. I'm gonna call this a version 1. I may keep looking for some better lights, but as you can see, really nice if I could shove 2 sets in there, one facing each way. But we'll call this version 1, and we'll see how it does and how well it holds up. I have it set up so this is the way it slides on my snowblower. This is my wire coming out, so I have it kind of kinked a little bit back towards me where I can see it in the cab, and then most of it's out towards the outside, and this is the inside of the plow. And these lights do put off a little bit of heat. That is a little warm there. Not super bad, but like just so you can tell that there's a little bit of heat in there. So see how well this holds up. See how well my mouse hold up, because I just dropped that one and broke that one. Like hard drop. I'm just gonna drop that off. I'll hook that yellow up here. There we go. No, you can't get in trouble there. Go have Sparkies. So these are printed like 50% infill, 5 walls, and I just had this whole thing drop from about 3 feet right onto that angle, and it sheared it. I don't know where the piece went flying to. It's somewhere. All right, there it is. So you can see where my bolt recess is right where it's sheared, and that's almost solid there. So what the issue is when these things aren't mounted to anything, they're really kind of brittle, because you have a 4-inch long gap protruding out, and all it takes is anything to pinch them two together to bust that. Once they're on, they actually seem like they're pretty sturdy, but it's just a matter of when they're off, they're a little bit temperamental and breakable because they're plastic. Now, if somebody's got like a CNC mill that could mill these out of aluminum, this whole piece, 5-axis CNC mill would be pretty badass. But yeah, that's what I have here. So I'm gonna do this other one, even though that moun's broken. I got a couple other little jigs I'm printing right now. So I printed a little jig to help me get to my cab light bar mounted nice. So I have 6 of them to print. So once that gets done printing, then I'll print another one of the mounts that I just broke, and we'll be good as gold. But yeah, Let me do the other one. I ain't gonna film that one because you've seen one, so it's the same exact process. Repeat and rinse and repeat and continue, and then I can clean up my mess of a desk. And yeah, that box is so I can cheat to get closer to the camera, so it can actually focus on something small. But anyways, I'll see you later. Okay, let's shoot the ending here on this. So we flip this switch and got our light up drift cutters. So they work pretty nice. I got the LEDs facing this way, facing out. We come down to a Deutsch connector that comes along the back of the snowblower, held in place with these adhesive zip tie mounts. Comes underneath, and here's where the two T together to come up and around, plug into the tractor. Same thing on this side. You got the wires coming out of there. I had to solder wires on there to get them to fit into the Deutsch connectors because they're not made for like the 32 gauge wire that them LED lights have on them. Same thing on the back side. Come along, come underneath, come out. We come up through all that to, if I can find it, right there's my connector. And that goes up this rail into the cab. But I didn't film any of the wiring on that because, well, I think watching wiring is boring. But that's how they are. They work quite nice. They are definitely bright. Got the nice little black cap on them. I did drill 2 holes in the drift cutter to put zip ties just to make sure they didn't get busted off. As you can see here, with them recessed holes for the bolts, they sit nice and flush. And on the back side, the nice little flat spot for the nut. Worked out quite nice. I had them out in the snow 2 times now, and we're good yet, so we'll see how they hold up. But yeah, there that is. If you like that video, be sure to like, comment, rate, subscribe. Normal YouTube stuff. I have another video talking about this, kind of hiding what I'm hiding on there, but a lot of stuff on that, so I'll make an update video on that one of these days, the cab on the tractor. And we'll get to some snow removal videos here too. But that's it. You guys all have a good night. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button and like, comment, rate, subscribe. Normal YouTube stuff. See ya. Okay, here we have my little light sticks all printed for my snowblower. So you can see we got a nice little recess for the 1/4 inch. Fucking piece of shit. I just fucking dropped that one. God damn it all. Yep.